Yeah. Let me drop exclusive game from my exclusive mind. You be out here chasing fame, I stay steady on my grind. Zero diamonds, zero.
Thank you for tapping into the Exclusive Minds podcast. Today we're going to be having an exclusive conversation with exclusive content from Exclusive Minds. I'm your host, Rook, and
Joe.
let's get right into it.
Yo, welcome back, episode 29. Coming off my solo episode that I was so proud of.
Yeah, I wish I was there for 28. That's my lucky number, but
I didn't know. I would have saved it for you. I could have done it as 27.5 or some stupid thing like that. It
Nah,
screws
it's all
up the
good.
numbering.
yeah, no, on Apple Music it definitely messes it up.
Yeah, so welcome back, man. Congratulations on graduating college.
Thanks, man. Preach. It's been 2 weeks. I walked into Joe's house today. It felt like forever since I last seen you.
I know.
Because it's like every week we see each other, so it's like it's kind of weird. But yeah, no, nothing really happened. I mean, graduated and then went on a camping trip that we'll talk about later. But how was the solo episode? We were kind of talking about it briefly. You said you didn't do too much preparing or something like that.
No, I mean, I just did what we typically do, right? I just kind of sat down and figured I would just talk, right? And, I was like, oh, okay, this is, you really got to think it out. I mean, so I just kind of did a recap of what I thought of the first 20-something episodes and some of the highlights of the stuff that we normally talk about, like crypto and nothing. But I literally only talked for 20 minutes and then I burned out. I was like, seriously, I'm like, hey, without, having stuff written down or some sort of thought process, I would have been just stumbling over myself trying to remember what the hell to talk about.
It's definitely harder. I've seen guys like Chris D'Elia. He's a comedian.
Mm-hmm.
He does it solo by himself, but he'll go for an hour. And I don't understand. I guess he just sits there and he'll go on these hour-long rants about a specific topic. Very something happened in his life, and he'll just rant about it for an hour. But I couldn't even imagine doing it for an hour long by myself. I just feel like I would be in that situation.
Yeah,
where you said you just run out of shit to talk about.
I mean, I don't think I have any problems talking. It's just, your train of thoughts just kind of all over the place and stuff like that. So I think if you had it mapped out, I should have just had it on my iPad with a list of maybe 10 talking things.
Mm-hmm. You could go back and reference it.
Then you could just kind of jump between them or whatever. But at least I would have had some sort of train of thought. I mean, it was like, what the hell am I going to, what am I going to talk about? And then, of course, usually when I have my moments of lapses, right, you jump in with something and the two of us can fill the hour easy. But 20 minutes in, I was just like, holy mackerel.
Time to wrap it up. Let's try to think here. So
I'm just trying to think just before you start. I mean, I guess I said I saw Doctor Strange and I thought it sucked. So,
oh, no, it wasn't. I don't think you told me.
That was one of the things,
okay.
Right? Because I did see, so I saw Doctor Strange and then I said, I guess Dave got off easy with the sleeping thing because I didn't really like it. I didn't think it was all that great.
No, it was, like I told you, it was so now that you've seen it, and for the people that didn't see it, I would skip forward again here, but so you could see where I was talking about the shallow plot points, a character kind of pops up that has a specific thing. They need that thing, but then the one person wants that thing that person has, and it's just kind of like every other movie, right? There was very shallow. You don't really know. I don't know. I like Doctor Strange, the first one. I think he's very thought out character, very intricate. I know I forget who it was. Maybe it was one of my friend's parents said something. They're like, Doctor Strange just sounds like a stupid character. What, he could just move things with his mind? I'm like, yeah, it's he's very cool. You could, open portals and go all over the place. I guess on paper it doesn't sound that great, but it's a very cool character. The what is this? The third one or the second one?
Second one for by himself, I think. God, I can't remember.
Is it?
Because there's so many interweaving movies nowadays. I can't even.
Yeah.
He's been in a bunch of them with the Avengers and stuff, but now I'm like, I'm pretty sure this was just the second one though.
And kind of going back to that with the Captain America, it was a Captain America movie, but it was an Avengers movie. You remember Captain America versus Iron Man?
Yeah.
It was a Captain America solo film, but it had everyone in it.
Yeah,
you remember it had
that was the Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier, and it had Iron Man, obviously. I think Spider-Man was in it. It had everyone, the whole cast.
Yeah.
Black Panther.
Yeah, they were all mixed in.
So I guess with those movies, it does kind of get all over the place.
But yeah, I didn't like it, and I'm not, and I honestly, the other thing I said is if you've seen the lineup of Marvel movies and Marvel TV shows and everything that's coming up, I'm like, oof.
It's kind of looking rough.
I think it's going to be awful.
Really? So I've seen.
Like, I mean, I don't want to get
She-Hulk.
into the. I don't. Yeah, well, so okay, She-Hulk. Yeah,
Yeah.
yawn. I mean, honest to God, seriously, it looks awful, and it just.
So
Let's
stop there for a second, because I actually, now I know you probably are going to say you didn't like the other Hulk movies, but I genuinely liked every single Hulk movie that came out, even the ones with who was that, the first Hulk, the guy before Ruffalo. Oh, you know who I'm talking about, though.
Yeah. He was in Brad Pitt with Fight Club. Norton, Edward Norton.
Yes, exactly. I liked his movies. I really liked the him versus, it was like I forget the guy's, Destroyer or something like the long. It was like him versus the other guy that was the Hulk, the military dude.
Yes.
Turned into the Hulk.
Yep.
That was like a badass movie, but apparently got a lot of backlash or a lot of shit by like the OG Marvel comic book fans.
I mean, obviously I'm a comic book guy, right? So I mean, I don't remember what the issue was there. I think part of it's just at that time they were all kind of like standalone stories, and it just wasn't interwoven kind of with the
that was before the
whole
storylines kind of made sense.
sphere of kind of thing. So it standalone, it just seemed kind of poor. But
even with the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans, though, that didn't really connect to the storyline at all. But it was still a good movie in my opinion.
Yeah.
I guess that was kind of like the one exception. But no, back to you said the timeline of. Do you know the other movies that were on the?
Oh God, there was like Miss Marvel.
Miss Marvel.
Like they did the
they did Captain Marvel,
but
yeah.
now it's Miss Marvel.
Okay. Teeter in the line, sure.
And then even the
Captain Marvel was ass, though.
Well, so this
Captain
new
Marvel's ass.
This new Thor movie, right? Looks like I
love Thor. I'll be honest. I'm kind of biased towards Thor. I always. He's a
but
dope ass
now
character.
it's the what's her face is the Thor. I don't know, man. I'm just like
I didn't see the trailer for it, or I didn't see it, but it's a Thor movie.
It's Thor,
or a spin-off of Thor.
Love and Thunder or something like that. And his girl, what the hell's her name in the movie? Right, his like the love connection.
Okay.
She's like a Thor.
She got powers?
Yeah, apparently.
Oh, no.
So I don't know.
Okay. All right. Well, fair enough. I mean, okay, so
you see the theme.
Yes,
here, right?
I see the
and
theme. I see the theme.
I'm like, how do you dance around this like without trying to?
Well, I'll let you
confront
take
it, but it's just like, look, they're doing a lot of this stuff for just. They're just
they're doing it? Yeah, you think they're doing it for the wrong reason?
They're
versus
doing it for absolutely the wrong reason.
Okay, that makes sense.
I think it's going to come out and it's going to just impact storylines, and it's just going to seem like it's there for it has to be there, right?
Okay. Well, so back to the Doctor Strange thing, and I don't want to harp on this too much, but I remember we talked about the last thing that we talked about before the hiatus was
the character who has the lesbian.
Did you figure that out?
So it was just a reference, right?
Okay,
so what you saw, that was it. There
right.
wasn't any pushing that theme, pushing that plot, right? So it was probably overblown on my part because again I hadn't seen the movie, but it was just one of those things where it didn't need to be in the movie, right?
Mm-hmm. It was like a cutscene, right, or a callback or whatever.
I mean, for me, it just seemed like they added it in because
it would apply to an audience.
It was the thing to do.
Okay, so it was okay. I got that.
But it really, other than it just being a reference. Instead of having a family, it was two mothers and moving on, right?
Sure.
So I mean, it wasn't a big deal one way or the other. Who cares? It just
that's kind of what I thought. I wasn't sure if
I just get the impression they're just doing it because it's the thing to do.
Yeah, I could see maybe they're trying to. That's like their way of showing not like a maybe.
But it almost
comes across as
ingenuine, right?
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, that's the way I'm like, come on.
Like they're just doing it just to do it.
Because it's the checks a box. And I'm like, that's the wrong reason to do this kind of shit. I mean, it seemed forced and it just, I don't know. So, I mean,
yeah, we don't have to really talk about that too much.
Honestly, if I had seen the movie without kind of reading the news and all the bullshit, I probably wouldn't have you wouldn't even have noticed it.
Yeah,
it's just like, who cares, right? Moving on. So
yeah,
it is what it is. It wasn't they weren't trying to crank the theme.
Mm-hmm. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, like I said, I was like, when you brought it up, I was like, did I fall asleep through something that I should have been awake through? And then I was like, all right, let me try to contribute to this conversation without hindering anything here.
No, I think it was just the media.
I know I talked about him earlier, but Chris D'Elia. So I was listening to his before we went away on the trip on the ride down there. And he was talking about graduation because everyone's graduating at the moment. And did you notice, like, in everyone's speeches for graduation, they kind of do like the da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da. It's like, we're closing one page in our book to start another. They always had this funny cadence about things. And then we were sitting there, and it was me, my buddy Cam, my friend Dylan, and my friend Joey. We're sitting there listening to, like, the speaker. And I was waiting for them to start doing that, but she didn't do it. And I was like, I feel like in high school, I feel like that's more of a thing because we're all like fresh out of high school, trying to learn it and everything. But it's always that one cadence that's the upwards, 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 downwards, 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 upwards, 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 downwards, downwards, downwards. And I was like, damn, I wish I could have fucking seen that. So I had something to talk about. But no, okay, this is actually what I did want to talk about. And I'm sorry for kind of jumping all over the place here. So we did go camping this weekend, right? And I told you I had a park ranger story. So we were at a state park, and state parks are. Have you went like camping at a state park and everything?
Oh yeah, that's why when you rattled the name of the place, I think I knew them all, but
hold on, I'll tell you right now. It is called like Cadorus.
It doesn't ring a bell.
Cadorus State Park. It's in Hanover, PA.
Oh, okay. All right.
But so we were sitting there, and we were just my girlfriend and her mother and my friend Wade, but them two, they talk really loud. They have voices that project. So no matter what, their voices project. And it's just not even like they're getting excited or anything, but it's just like their voices just echo for some reason. And we're sitting outside, and they're talking loud. And then it's one of those things where you're kind of like looking around at other people at the campground just to kind of like see. You want to see everyone's setup and everything. But everyone's like not talking really. They're just kind of like just quiet. And I don't know if it's just this group that we're sitting next to or what, but they're just not like interacting with their family. It's 5 of them in like a smaller camper, and we're like, we don't pay no mind or whatever. So we carry about the day, and it's Saturday night, and we're like, all right, we want to play some Monopoly. Why not? We're out camping. No one has their phones, disconnected, have a fire going. So we start playing Monopoly. We're getting loud, like I said. They're projecting their voices and everything. And, it's, let's just call it 10:30 at night. All we hear is, and we're like, what's going on? Like, who is that? And then it was like, hey, park ranger, whatever her face was. And she was like, oh, I thought there was a party going on over here. And then we're like, why? They're like, because someone said that there was like loud voices and like you guys were being obnoxious. And we're like, we're just sitting here playing Monopoly. Like they could just see everything going on over here. And then of course Taylor, she was like kind of upset. She was like, why'd you come over here now? Like my whole weekend's like killed. I was like, come on, Taylor, like relax, whatever. But I think it was the group that was sitting next to us because they weren't talking, but like we weren't being that loud. We're playing Monopoly, bro. Like they're not gonna get kicked out over playing Monopoly. So that just happened, and it was like kind of like it was like an underwhelming thing that happened, but it was one of those things where it's just like, why did they feel like it was necessary like to call them over? I get it maybe because they were trying to fall asleep or something like that, but who knows, man? People just like I feel like they just want something to bitch about, bro. Like it was like it just happened for no reason. Like you have nothing better going on. You're with your family, talk with them. Don't like sit there and try to like listen to our conversation just because we're talking a little bit louder than everyone else. So I was just like, camping's
I've had kind of similar weird experiences.
You never know with people.
Right, exactly. Everybody, groups are different, right? Sometimes it could be the happiest kind of people and they just want to jump in and join in with you or strike up a conversation. And other times people are just
and that's typically how
doing my thing. And I do know that some of those places have like, don't they have like quiet rules and shit like that? But I mean, still, if you're playing a game and it's just
we're inside of a yurt, which is like a cabin, and we're like inside. So like, I don't know how loud we're necessarily being considering that we have 4 walls around us. It's more or less a circle rather, but we're enclosed, right? But we've had experiences at campgrounds where it's like people would come over to us and start talking and they wouldn't leave. And we're like you know what I mean? It's like 2 extremes. Like, all right, we kind of don't want these people to be like our, extra, like our +1 here. So I don't know. I just was like kind of like a weird story.
I guess that's kind of the crowd you attract. It's either super social or super introvert, right? It's probably not a lot of in between. It's like not a lot of middle ground between the people you meet camping and stuff like that.
But it was fun. I feel like camping is one of those things where it's like kind of like almost like a necessity. Like I feel like getting disconnected, being like somewhere where you're not on your phone. Like we put all of our phones in everything in like a drawer and just were like outside vibing. Like we didn't do anything. Just like had a fire, like talking amongst ourselves, and
that's a lost art, man.
Yeah.
Nobody does it anymore. And I'm telling you what, most people couldn't handle it.
You think a lot of people couldn't do it?
No, I really don't. Not in this day and age. I mean, Christ, most of these state parks are probably not out of cell service. So I guess in theory, right, you could still show up and sit in a chair around a campfire and still hammer away on your iPhone or iPad, right? I mean, you're never ever out of cell range anymore. It's super rare.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I feel like it's one of those things where you like being out in the woods, you don't want to be on your phone. Like it wasn't like a point where I wanted to check my phone. Like maybe like right before bed, like just to kind of like check the notifications, like, oh, my mom texted me or someone else tried to get a hold of me. But I'm not like out there like I guess sitting around the fire like you said and just kind of like mindlessly like doing what I would do at home. You know what I mean? You're like kind of like disconnected. You want to be doing that. There was a lake there and we saw like it just, I don't know. I guess like the little things meant more than the bigger things. I know that's a cliche thing to say, but we were just by the lake chilling, and then all of a sudden this giant yellow snapper jumps out the water, and we're like all looking. We're like, bro, what the F did this thing just jump out the water? Like it's like a 12-foot fish that just jumped out, and it just like the small things kind of made like more of an impact, I guess you could say. Than I guess just being at the house and
it's cool. I mean, like I said, most people can't slow down long enough to kind of enjoy that. I mean, it's just whatever. I mean, seriously, it's super, super rare to be disconnected.
For sure. And I think it's like necessary. Like I feel like nowadays, like we're constantly always worried about what the next person's doing, or constantly, like we always talk about. I feel like we talk about this quite a few times. It's like, should we even be able to have the power of being on our phone? And nowadays, I feel like a lot of the time too, like kind of before we go into the next topic, I kind of like it's a good segue, but like a lot of people online, I feel like, or these people just like have like so much built up steam anyway. They'll just like go on their phone, make a fake account with like, I don't know, call it like a cartoon profile picture, and then they'll just like start like hating online with an anonymous like alias just to kind of blow off steam, where it's like, you could just put your phone away and just go outside and have that same effect without necessarily taking someone else's down, like taking someone else down with you. You know what I mean, though?
Yeah. I don't. The trolling thing I never really got, but
yes, the trolling. So like, I was trying to think to myself, like, how could we like counteract trolling? And I was like part of me is like, so like, what's something that everyone like could put in?
So I mean, this is the Twitter conversation,
right?
Now,
and that's kind of like the segue, right?
But it's really weird. I mean, it seems like it's a very easy thing to fix, because I know some of the other upstart social media companies, they actually, I don't know if it was Parler or something like that, but in order to like you could go through a process where you had to prove that you're you, right? And they would, I guess behind the scenes they logged, or I think what it was is you had to send them a picture of your photo or driver's ID.
So that's what I was thinking.
And then once they, I think what they said is that once they verified you, then they deleted instantly any of that information.
Okay.
It was just to vet you, and then you got a check mark, right? The blue check mark in Twitter world, right? But all it basically said is that you're a verified person, and you didn't necessarily have to go through that process if you didn't want to submit all that, but you weren't a verified person. And then I guess you could filter your feed based on whether it's real people or you could just filter out anybody who's an unverified account, right? So I mean, that just seems like an easy way to fix it, right? At that point you could sit there and say, I'm sure that Twitter doesn't want to do it because they're counting every freaking account.
Yeah.
When they say, hey, we've got 40 million users who like your product when you're going after advertisers, right? But it's all bullshit.
It is a lot. And so with that being said, I was thinking that same exact process, because on Instagram, and all these accounts, like back to that blue check mark, when you apply for verification, you have to show some form of identification, whether it be a passport, ID, I think, whatever the case might be. But you'll always have those people that are like, oh, I don't want them to have my information. They're not really actually deleting it. Like the kind of like the naysayers, I guess you could say. You know what I mean? So it's like,
I mean, in this point in time, though, I mean, who doesn't have your driver's license?
exact, dude.
Jesus.
I go on my phone, right, and I go to you go to your photos and type in like a keyword, tattoo. How does your phone know what's a tattoo versus what's like a marker in your arm versus like how do they even know like what to classify it as a tattoo?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like some of the things that I saw like on my phone was just like it was like a Sharpie and it just said like Rook on my arm like this. But like how do they know that that's a tattoo? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
how are they able to like register that? So I don't know. I saw that and I was like tripped out. I was like, dude, like they definitely have all my information on there. You got to be crazy to think otherwise.
Oh, I know. I mean, it's funny. I mean, like, you know, people are like, when you go into a club, right, or a bar, and they ask you for ID, right, at the door, and they basically, if you've ever noticed, half the times they're like scanning and taking video of it because if they, you know, get caught or, you know, get accused of underage drinking, then you say, look, we have this guy's thing, right? So it's funny, like all the people that are probably complaining about, I don't want to share my information with these, probably like 5 minutes earlier, were having their ID scanned by the bouncer at the bar to
or
get
in,
in,
at the
right,
casino.
Right. It's just, it's come
yeah,
on.
exactly. So like, there's so many different ways that you could get, like, what would that be called? Like your information stolen, and the same goes for like what we talked about with the IPs. Like you could hide, grabbing someone's IP address with a secret URL. And you just like wouldn't even know, you know?
You almost,
there's so many ways of getting duped, you know?
Well, there are. But I mean, you just basically have to go through life assuming that everything you do is on camera, on film, and everybody knows everything about your business, right?
Exactly.
And if you kind of get over that hump, then it's just like, okay, whatever. It's all downhill from here.
Exactly. But so back to the thing about what we were talking about with the social media. So I think that if there was a way to kind of go back to what you were saying about verifying like your actual persona on like let's say Twitter, then there would be a lot less trolling because like how would you know, like, so let's say you go on there and you're like, F this company, they're fucking whatever. So one of your like coworkers that might say like, all right, this is outrageous, like this guy's like obviously, you know, head over heels like psychopath, shows your employer and they're like, hey, like look at what your employee's representing you. I feel like a lot of people will kind of second guess of like, all right, I'm not actually going to send that out. And I often find myself,
yeah, I mean, so anonymity has kind of created this just huge upswell.
Keyboard warriors, they call them.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing what people will say when they don't actually have to say it, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
there's no strings attached to you.
Right. There's no repercussions. There's no, you know, it's just, that's the world it is. I mean, because I think back, you know, in my day when the internet was kind of just coming out, right? AOL or, you know, any of the newer or
like the messaging stuff.
services. But back then, right, you did have, I guess, they had aliases, right? You could create usernames that were kind of fake. So you had some of that. But you were basically paying for it, and you didn't have like 16 email accounts, right? There was only like, it was AOL, right? And if you screw with AOL and you lost it, then you're out of luck. Where else are you going to go, right? There's only 2 other services that you could do email or whatever. Now it's like there's 47, you know, different commercial. Hey, here's a free email account.
Yeah, and on top of that, like you have to be in a certain mindset, I feel like. Like, I get it for, like, a product review. Like, I could get, like, you're, like, oh, I got completely effed here. They're not doing nothing about it. The customer service was lousy, whatever. I could get, like, typing a review, giving your honest feedback on that. Sure, I get that. But, like, let's say it's someone that's, you know, like, a content creator, and then you're just, like, an anonymous person hating just to hate. Like, I couldn't even imagine, first of all, watching the video, sitting down after and be like, okay, I'm going to comment now, and then start typing out a message and then hitting send on the message. Like, that, to me, that sounds like a foreign concept to me. Like, I just, like, feel like I would start typing it out and being like, what the hell am I doing? Like, I must have nothing better to do. You know what I mean? Like, because this is another person at the end of the day. This is not like, I'm not typing into Amazon here, like, where it's just going to go, who knows, in like a junk email or something like that. This is someone that's probably going to read my message and take that to heart. So I just couldn't understand doing that.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I shake my head when I think about these people that are really famous. And
they're like, oh my God.
If you, I mean, I don't know how you kind of how you disassociate from just like, I mean, if you'd have to almost look at the messages that are coming in. And I mean, God, it would just God, it would it would just destroy most people.
Yeah, I think it was you.
You got to have some strength.
Yeah, I think it was you or maybe I don't know who it was. I was talking to someone. They said that they don't look at the positive because then if they show some attachment to the positive message, they'll also show a negative attachment to the negative message. So if you kind of just stay on like a narrow path of like taking each side with a grain of salt, you'll be, kind of better off than, oh my God, all the positive, but then at the same time, for every 100 positives, there's that one negative that still weighs the same,
Yeah.
So,
wasn't me that said that, but I mean, obviously it's a balance and stuff. So.
Exactly.
I don't know.
How's the stuff with Mr. Musk? I mean, I heard there's a lot going on. I mean, first was the Twitter deal.
I think it's been kind of quiet recently. So
really? No, with the Twitter deal, and he also has some allegations or something, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's just as far as I can tell, that's just
BS.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Who knows? I mean,
can you explain to like what's going on with that?
So I guess on the Twitter front, right? He basically, I guess 2 weeks ago, pushed back and said, how many
spam accounts?
How many spam accounts and how many legit users do you have, right? And Twitter came back and basically said, oh, we only have less than 5% fake accounts or spam accounts or bot accounts. And I guess Elon said, well, how'd you come up with that number?
Yeah, well, that's horseshit, but
well, right. He's like, how did you come up with that number? Show me how you came up with that number. And they're like, we can't show you. And he's like, well, what do you mean?
I'm about to acquire you. What do you mean?
Right. He's like, well, what do you mean? I want to know how you did this. And he goes, and I guess they couldn't legally share it because of privacy concern. There was some thread of this bullshit about why they couldn't do it. And at the end of the day, I mean, I heard that I guess Twitter was like taking, they would take like 100 accounts and basically just look into them. And they said, "Oh, only 5 of them are bad." 100 accounts out of the 200 million. So they go, look, the scale that you're investing in this just doesn't make any sense for the size of the organization. No. There's no way that this really vets out. So I guess Elon basically just said, "Hey, I need you," and he actually sent a letter to the SEC. This is part of that original trolling thing where I sit there and go, I think this was all planned and he was doing this all along, right? This was his out the entire time because he knew he had it in his back pocket I'll just say, look, your user count is horseshit, right? And so, I mean, now it's like he's basically said to him, you need to prove to me how many real versus fake you have. And based on that, let's have a reevaluation of how much we're going to pay for this company because I'm not paying $44 billion if it's if there's hundreds of millions of fake accounts. I want to know what it is, right? I'm buying this. I want to know what it is, and I want to know how you got to that.
And they want to be transparent about it,
right? And right now, I guess Twitter's not being transparent, which sounds all the alarms that there's significant fake accounts and they're trying to hide behind it. Because
from what it sounds, I mean, from this whole exchange, it sounds like he's kind of had them by the balls, even from the start, though. Because we go back to like months back now at this point, or maybe 2 months back. He bought that initial 9%, knowing that he's going to leverage that 9%. Well, now it seems like he's doing the same almost with, like you said, like kind of always having that, like, all right, well, if you don't show me the real number, I'm just going to back out of the deal. And we're still kind of with that murky water of, is he going to sell that 9% or whatever percent it is, and how much is that going to affect the stock price? Because it's going to tank once his almost 100 million followers on Twitter are like, oh, he's backing out, we're going to sell too.
I mean, the day he basically said he's putting pause to buying or to the buyout, the stock plummeted. I forget what it went, but it went down like 20% or 25%.
Jesus Christ.
So that's that, right? Okay. That's the Twitter front. And then I guess just in the last week or two, he's had
like the scandal.
I think it's 2 allegations of sexual misconduct. One, supposedly he asked a masseuse on a private jet to basically give him a happy ending kind of thing. Hey, and then there was another one that just came out.
He paid her off too, right? $250.
Well, so that's the funny thing. Supposedly she got a separation from whatever company, one of his companies. I don't know if it was Tesla or whoever it was, but she got a separation payout of $250,000. And everybody that all the places I listen to, they go either she had the stupidest lawyer on the planet, or it really had nothing. It was just a disgruntled employee who was probably angry about something, and this was the separation clause. We'll give you a year's pay, get the hell out, right? We don't need your headache, whatever it is, right? Because
they could have probably got more.
They said if she had a legitimate case, or even if she had any case, and this guy's the richest dude in the world, right?
Yeah.
He would have paid tens of millions of dollars just to not have to go through it, right? And so
$250,000, he's making that in an hour. You know what I mean?
So
that's less than an hour.
So they're like, this doesn't make any sense, right? This is probably a situation where he didn't even know about this, right? The company's just like, Elon doesn't want this headache. We'll give her $250 and just send her on her way, right? And so he denies it, obviously.
I don't know. I mean, I don't mean to laugh, and I apologize if that's coming off as insensitive, but it's hard to believe, because I feel like a lot of these allegations are coming out, and I mean, even look at the Johnny Depp and the Amber Heard thing, right? Like, this is a crazy successful actor who's now getting kicked off of movies like, this is probably old news for a lot of people, but like Pirates of the Caribbean, he's kind of getting, discredited for a lot of this stuff, and I don't mean to put Pirates of the Caribbean as his best work, but I'm just using that as an example where Disney just completely dropped him. You know what I mean? Yeah,
I mean, pretty much. You got to give the guy some credit. I mean, I guess he got to the point where he's like, "Look, this is he kind of took it originally. He was just like, all right, whatever. Let me just see if this blows over, and I'll deal with it." And then she kept it up, and he's like, "Okay, time out here. I've had enough of this, because none of it's true." Or that's his side of the fence. And if you kind of listen, I can't say that I've spent more than 10 minutes listening. You can't avoid it when you're on the internet.
Oh my God, right.
I log on to my news site, and boom, it's Amber and Johnny Depp, day 762, and she's
seems that way, sure.
But I mean, so I catch it that way. But I haven't watched a minute of the actual trial. But
no.
It's just like, oh my God, it's he said, she said, I've got my people who say I said this, and my people say I didn't say this. It's like, who the hell do you really believe?
Exactly. So I've exact same situation as you. Haven't spent a minute watching it, but from like the places that I get my news from, and from people reacting to it, apparently he's winning, and his lawyers are fantastic. Apparently, I saw a couple clips just like that were viral of like. So the lawyer was like, "So you had a bad drinking problem afterwards?" And he replies with, he was like, "Well, he's like, were you there?" And everyone in the courtroom just kind of like busts out laughing, and he has these one-liners and everything like that. But
yeah, he's been playing Jack Sparrow as like a real person. Who's in court, I heard. Yeah.
I mean, you're going up against a actor, a god tier actor. Of course, he's going to be going through all the stops and everything. Like, he knows what he's doing. He's not dumb. But if I heard that there's a chance that she wins, and if she wins, that even like the people are still going to be on his side, because I forget what it is. It's like what is it? Defamation or defamation?
Yeah.
That's so, the original thing, right?
Yeah, I think it's really hard to. Supposedly, legally, it's really hard to prove, but obviously in the court of public opinion, it's a whole different story. So at the end of the day, I think that's kind of what he was probably going for anyway, right?
Just kind of getting the masses.
Because if he doesn't win, right, he's already got. I mean, I think for the most part, unless something comes out of the blue here, right, everybody knows that she's freaking batshit crazy.
Literally.
And look, the reality is somewhere in between the two, right? I mean, I'm sure that he's not a stellar cat when it came to things, but we've all been in relationships where sometimes you get pushed to a point where you do some stuff because you lash out, right? So I'm sure there's some of that. I mean, it strikes me that as a couple they were oil and vinegar, right? And
they just didn't line up.
It just got volatile, and instead of just sort of cutting the cord and getting out, they kind of just pushed each other's buttons until a breaking point, and now it's just a he said, she said.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I mean, she got some pretty terrible lawyers, though. I saw some clips. Apparently,
that's either that or she doesn't have the truth on her side, right?
Probably
no
mix of the,
no good lawyer in the world, I guess, can fabricate the truth if it's not there, and it just shows. And I mean, I think she was terrible on the stand at one point. I heard where she was doing the fake crying that was so obviously fake crying.
I saw a clip where she looked like she did cocaine up on the stand. She had like a napkin, and then she like never once touched her nose, but with the napkin, she like went to go blow her nose. And then all of a sudden, she's like touching her nose every 5 seconds. I'm like, bro, you got to be wild to do this in a courtroom right now. Like, especially in front of like a bunch of the people. But back to what I was saying about the defamation thing, it feels like they're going through all the stops of everything besides actually talking about the defamation. They're talking about cheating and throwing bottles at each other and him apparently writing on the wall with his blood and everything.
It's funny you say that because I thought originally this whole thing was he was trying to basically just say he never physically abused her.
Exactly.
I thought that was like
they're going through
premise.
all the other stops.
I guess in legalese, right? All of this other stuff is foundational to developing the person's character, to being able to physically abuse. I mean, I agree with you. It's literally been what I don't know how long this has been going on for, but it's got to be like 6 months. Yeah. It seems like it's been 6 months. It's probably been a week, but it feels like it's been 6 months. And I'm like, okay, did he physically abuse her or not? Right? And all this other shit is just white noise. That I mean,
just kind of like, I guess, giving context, but still, it's just kind of like,
and like I said,
exaggerated.
I don't think that. I mean, if you look at Depp, right, he's suing her for like $50 million. She doesn't have $50 million.
Well, she's not even like a popular actress, right?
So, well, she's in the Aquaman movies. I think that was like her most recent claim to fame, and she's getting phased out of that because apparently, rumor on this thing is that she didn't get along with what's his name, Jason Momoa, right? So,
oh god.
And so, but I mean, it's like Depp's suing her for $50 million. She doesn't have it. So it's not about the money. It can't be about the money because I don't think he could get it even if he won.
Yeah.
I think it's just he wanted to put this out in the public.
As like a PSA.
Look, man, she's accusing me all kinds of shit. I kind of let it go originally, and I said, okay, I'll take the hit and let's just move on with life. I want this to be over with. And she just kept going, and he's like, look, it's not true. I can't just sit here and take it anymore.
Basically, you're saying it was like an uphill battle from the start. He just wants more public eyes to be on.
Why else would he do it?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so he's not doing Jack Sparrow. The dude's still...
Yeah, he's going to be living.
I mean,
right.
he would probably have no problems making money doing, even if he was doing kind of the B movies like a Bruce Willis or something,
But even from our neck of the woods with like Dior, they haven't dropped him. They've been sticking by his side the whole time. So you got to give, they made that very public.
In theory, right? You're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, and that's not the way it works anymore in this world.
Not in Hollywood. Everyone dropped him at as soon as this thing hit the court.
It's cancel culture 101, man. Yeah. And that's not what this is. So it's I don't know. It's interesting. It's not interesting enough for me to invest a minute of my time other than just looking at the news headlines,
right? Exactly.
Which is all I've done and all I will do, but. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of anecdotally looking at it and just thinking, God almighty.
Yeah, thank God I'm not in that situation.
Oof.
That would be a giant headache. I feel like there was a segue.
That was the other thing
we had there.
I'm actually, now that here I am saying I could care less about this. And now I'm like wrapped around the axle thinking about it, right? Because the other thing I thought was pretty funny was supposedly when they divorced, he was going to give her $7 million that she was going to instantly donate to 2 charities.
I didn't even know that. So you do know more than me.
Well, yeah, I do. So so I'm starting to rethink everything I just said. Maybe I am maybe I'm more of a hypocrite than I thought. But anyway, so she so she was supposed to get $7 million from him as part of the divorce settlement, and then she was supposed to give $3.5 million to 2 charities that were, women abuse or against spousal abuse or whatever it was. And turns out she never gave any of the money to any of them.
Oh, so she got the money from the divorce.
She got the money from Depp.
Yes.
And she never donated a penny of it to anybody.
Oh my God.
She gets on the stand and she's like, I promise that I'm going to do it, and I haven't been able to yet. But this is, and he's the lawyer. That was the lawyer's like, well, okay, so this was This was years before this. What happened?
Like, what's the holdup? Yeah, she's not planning on doing that. I don't even. She probably blew the $7 million for all we know. Okay, this is what. Thank you for actually saying that, because you gave me time to think about what I was saying. So, should there be more responsibility on the people accusing the other person of the thing that they said, right? Because the Elon Musk thing with the masseuse person, not saying who's right, who's wrong there, but let's say there was never a that whole thing was made up, right? Or that there was a headache, like you said. Should that person get more
yes,
backlash, or should they do prison time? Because think about it, like, these people will come at it's predominantly guys all the time for, or women will come at guys all the time for, like, say something like X, like, this person sexually assaulted me, sexually harassed me, work misconduct, whatever, and that's kind of it. Like, as far as their side of the thing, oh, that was false, and I just wanted to do that just because of a bad breakup, right?
Right. I mean, everybody should face repercussions, especially if you lie, right? I mean,
but there is none right now in place.
I mean, I guess in theory there are, but you're right. It never
legally
never plays out that way, because usually either once it comes out, the party that was being accused just wants to get on with their lives and doesn't want to keep dragging it out by countersuing or going back after it. I mean, Chris, you could see this in the without getting into the politics and stuff, but the whole Trump Russian collusion scandal was all bullshit.
Okay.
Right? I mean, it's proven. It's a proven thing. It was all fabricated.
Wait, were they talking about like the polls or like the votes or something like that? Or
so there was the Russian collusion documents that got into like the FBI and stuff like that basically Hillary Clinton's campaign just completely fabricated. It was just all made up, and they used that as the foundation to do all the spying on his campaign and harass all the people around him and all that stuff. But it was all originally based on something that was completely fabricated by the Hillary Clinton campaign. So that's one of the other things that's going on right now, right? So I'm not making this shit up. If you think I'm just some right-wing zealot, just go online and you can see it's real.
I never, you're educating me, because you know me. I don't
so I mean, that's another classic example, right? So I guess in that case, right now is what's going on is, right, that whole thing had been previously vetted, and obviously they tried to impeach Trump and all that stuff, and now I guess it's sort of flipping on its head, because now they're kind of going after all the people that fabricated this information. Really? And because it was blatantly done with ill will, right? So now it's kind of flipping around. So we'll see. I mean, until someone is held accountable for bullshit.
There has to be some repercussions.
Right. I mean, that, it's the classic internet thing, right? There's no repercussions for me to create a fake account and start
back to square one,
trashing somebody. Yeah. Right. So, I mean, that's the reason why it's such a bad issue and why Twitter's such a freaking cesspool, right? No,
I mean, well, for one,
what's the repercussions? There's none.
There is none. Yeah. You could go online, write a whole paragraph about someone, and basically send it without anything happening to you. I mean, and that's kind of the reason why I think YouTube got rid of their likes, is because of that same reason. People would just go on to YouTube and spam bot a bunch of dislikes regardless of the video. And it could be something political, not political, whatever the case may be, but you're just kind of doing it just because you want to hurt someone else. And at the end of the day,
you see that on Amazon all the time.
Yeah,
with, any politically written book on either side of the fence, right? As soon as it comes out, there's a million negative reviews, and you're like, these people didn't read the book.
Yeah.
Right? They hate Trump, so they're zinging his thing. They hate Hillary, so they give her one reviews, and it's like, they didn't read the book. You know they didn't read the book. They didn't even buy the book.
I don't like politics for the so hear me out,
I'm just using that as an example. No,
I get that.
I mean, it could be anything.
Because of the midterms that just happened, it made me think, because me and my friends were talking about it. So these guys get, let's say they're on like a $200,000 salary. How the hell are they worth $200 million?
Yeah, good question.
So what? No, we have to go back. We have to kind of like preface this, but like, I mean, not preface it, but like, this is kind of why people want the blockchain to come more into daily lives, right?
The funny thing is if you look at Joe Biden and his salary from being a congressman, right? So I don't know what it is. I mean, it was under $200,000 a year up until maybe just recently. Check my numbers. But I mean, for him to be a senator, senators don't make a lot of money. There are a lot of perks, and I'll get to that in a second. But on the surface, right, the salary that he was making, I could sit there and say I've made as much as he has over the last 20 years, each year, right? Maybe not as much. But I'm like, I don't have a freaking $7 million house down in Rehoboth Beach. I don't have a $7 million place down here in Middletown, Delaware. Like, wait a second, this guy's getting paid like under $200,000 a year. How the hell did this happen?
So that's what
now,
I was
there
saying.
are a lot of perks. Like, he doesn't pay for cars. He doesn't pay for travel.
Nice.
There's a bunch of like stuff. But I mean, at the end of the day, it still doesn't get you a $7 million house.
Well, yeah.
So how'd that happen?
Yeah. So here's my thing with that.
Now, some of those guys will write books, like Bernie Sanders. A lot of them write books, and even then, you can sit there and say, well, they're getting royalties for a book that doesn't sell what it deserves. What it would have made, kind of thing. But there are other ways to make money on the side that I guess are legitimate. Like you could write books and stuff like that. But yeah, generally speaking, you look at politicians and some of these career politicians that are multimillionaires on a salary that just doesn't justify it, even if you're the crypto market to perfection. I mean, it just doesn't work that way.
Let's just say I'm closer to 200,000 than 200,000 is to 7 million. Okay.
Right.
So,
point.
besides that though, I just don't like the fact that there's a lot of insider trading, I feel like, and because that hurts a number of people. I mean, without saying any names, I know a lot of people that worked hard all their lives, right? They're investing in a whole bunch of stocks, and then you have someone that kind of gets a signal the day of, and they put a lot of money in or short that stock, and it's just like, well, why should this person that just kind of got this information within 5 minutes ruin that person that's been working for 40 plus, 50 plus years within the snap of a finger? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, they're not supposed to, right? There's mechanisms to control that, but they don't really work all that well.
Exactly. So that's kind of my whole thing with that. That's my TED Talk. Yeah, I don't know. I guess you have to start selling #1 bestseller books, and then you could.
There's a reason why they call it the swamp.
The swamp?
Yeah, the swamp.
What's the swamp?
The political.
Okay.
It's a swamp, right?
Yeah,
it's
I get it.
Yeah, you get in there and then you get lost, and then I guess the next thing you know, you're a billionaire or something. A millionaire.
Are we billionaires yet from crypto?
We're not even freaking close.
No.
So So I guess I did have an update on. I just kind of rattled off where Bitcoin was, and
Where was it at?
it was last week. It was 30K, and I don't know where it is today.
I'm not even honestly. Back in 2017 when I was invested a little bit back then, it went down 90%. We're at about the 50% to 60% mark.
Yeah,
I think it could go down more. But back in those times, it was scary, man.
Yeah,
it was at like 19,000, 17,000 and went down to like
today
1,000.
it is trading almost exactly at 30,000.
Yeah, it'll go back.
So
up.
all I can tell, I was lamenting the fact that I looked and I bought in at like 65,000. So
yeah, you're down.
And my Decentraland, Decentraland was like $1.30, and I was in at 350, and I was just like, thank God it was only like $100, right? Because you want to talk about miserable. Of course, the stock market itself's been just freaking tanking.
Yeah, how's that? I mean, what is it? The NASDAQ and
all of it. I mean,
S&P
pretty much
everything?
Everything's just kind of
going
flatlining. So it's unfortunate, but
yeah. I mean, it's kind of crazy. Like 100 years ago, right? I mean, this is kind of like a theory, but 100 years ago was the Great Depression, right? I mean, are we going to start seeing people starting to bury their meats underground and?
Well, let's hope not. I mean,
putting
that's
milk
the
cartons
rumor.
on
The next thing that's coming
what?
along is
The monkeypox?
A food shortage. Yeah, what the hell is that? I swear to Christ, what is that? Do you know what that is? Because I just saw that this morning. Like I'm like, what the hell is he talking about?
So like 2 years ago, there was a bunch of monkeys that were getting tested on, and the bus crashed.
Oh, come on! I saw the goddamn movie. Everybody dies.
Not Planet of the Apes, man.
No, I mean,
this is a real thing that happened.
Wasn't that that was a movie where
the Planet of the Apes?
They ended up dropping a hyperbaric firebomb on a city to blow away all the people that are contaminated. I mean, come on, we're all going to be freaking zombies before we know it.
My timeline here might be messed up, but like something with these monkeys. They were testing monkeys. They got in a crash.
The monkeys escaped, and
then some woman got it or interacted
she
with
French kissed a monkey, or
I don't know. And then now all of a sudden there's like these like bumps that are coming. But right now I think it's only in Texas or something like that.
Holy shit!
Or I don't know where it's at. I don't know. Maybe Australia. Who knows, man?
You turn your head, man. It's just like holy mackerel. Is that so? That's what that is. I think so. So Biden brought it up, right? Is that what the thing was? Or
I saw it from a Twitter clip, and someone was like, "Yeah, we're gonna by the time this is all said and done, there's gonna be no population left." So I don't know what's going on.
That's why I'm never taking another vaccine. I'm just whatever happens. I'm over it. I mean, and what are you gonna do?
Well, they're coming out with a fourth one now. Do you know that?
I don't care. Okay, Bammy. I don't really care. It's just beyond. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, I think that's it. That was the last thing I thought about was the monkeypox. Monkey. What is it?
So what's Pete Davidson going to do now that he's quit?
Hey man, he's with Kim Kardashian. He'll be fine.
Oh yeah, that's right. Are they getting? So I heard the other. Didn't one of them get married this weekend or some shit?
Travis.
Who's the dude with
Barker.
all the tattoos on his head?
Travis Barker, I believe. Was with the band Blink 182.
Ah,
the drummer.
Okay, yeah.
And he married Courtney.
Nice.
I think. Dude, it's just like I'm like ashamed that I know that. Like the fact that I know that is like actually like terrible, because like
well, how the hell can you not? I mean, like I said, so the Kardashians are like the Depp trial. Like I mean, you can't. There's some things you just like. I mean, if you get on the internet, usually the first thing that comes on when you turn on your browser, right, is usually some sort of a news aggregator, right? Could be Google, could be Yahoo, could be whatever, right?
And there's always a clip.
You can't you can't not see the headlines,
dude. Like the fact that I know that when you just asked me that. Like I mean, I can't. I was cringing inside when you asked me that because
I'm shocked thinking about how I just spent 15 minutes talking about the Johnny Depp thing, and I swear to God,
and you preferenced it. You were like, "Yeah, I don't even know too much about it."
I swear to God that I have not invested a minute of my life watching any of it.
I'm the same way.
It is all
headlines.
from reading the headlines.
Yeah.
Everything I just said is from the headlines over the last month because it's on every day.
I see a lot of stuff from Twitter, like the clips, and like there was a thing where she like shit on his bed too, or on his pillow, or something.
That was earlier. That was early. That was like one of the first things.
Yeah,
and everybody's like, "What? What? Say what?"
Yeah, he said that he got into bed.
As soon as that came out, everybody was instantly like, "She's fucking batshit crazy." End of story. Yeah. It's over.
Well, because you get these moments. It's like football, right? Like you're watching a whole football game for 2 hours. You just wait for that one moment, that one interception, and then you get this thing where it's like, all right, I'm suing him for 100. I'm suing her for 50. By the way, I shit on his pillow at night. It's like, bro, what? I need to be there for the next one now. Like, what's the next clickable moment going to be?
I don't think there's. I mean, you just can't come back from that one. You just can't. I mean, you cannot come back from that.
Yeah.
One.
So, all right. So then that's okay. Real quick before we wrap it up, right? So there's
still a war going on, by the way, in case you didn't know.
Really?
Russia invaded Ukraine or something like that. Did you know about that?
Well, okay, we'll get to that in a second. But what was I going to say? Damn it. So their careers
That's
after this.
That's going to end by. Sorry, but the Russian war is going to end because today Starbucks officially pulled out of Russia. So there's 132 Starbucks stores in Russia that are 132.
Bro, go to like Philadelphia or New York City. Like
I know, but I mean it's Russia, right? So I mean, So when all those people can't get their Starbucks in Russia, guess what? They're gonna be like, what the hell's going on with this shit? I'm okay invading Ukraine until it cuts into my Starbucks. Yeah. That's some serious business.
They're gonna get AK-47s and start turning coffees, and that's how they're gonna.
Actually, I guess Apple pulled out too. So I mean, you won't be able to get your iTunes or. You won't be able to get your iPhones or Starbucks. I mean, seriously.
As bad as it sounds, bro, I completely forgot that that was, and like I'm ashamed to say that I truly apologize because we talked about the Amber Heard thing and for 20
wanted
minutes.
to change the subject on
Yeah.
you. So.
So now we're like,
I've had enough of that.
So now we're like, yeah, man. Like, is there any other information about that? Like, I kind of feel bad not knowing. Like, I genuinely don't know. Like, I feel like I heard it.
No, I mean it's starting to fade from the or people are just forgetting about it because it's been dragging out, and public opinion is a court of short order, right? What have you done for me in the last week or so?
Did Russia successfully invade?
No,
or
it depends on who you talk to, but I mean, supposedly they're
still putting up a fight.
They're still attacking, but they're getting their heads handed to them left and right, and so it's
Yeah, man, dude, that's a shame. I really don't like to hear that type of news because like it's like they just recently got Ukraine recently just got away from them, and he just decided to take it back, right? Like Ukraine is recently like a new.
Yeah, I mean Ukraine was part of the original Soviet bloc, and then
how long ago were they?
Well, I mean, I don't know, 70s maybe.
So it's fairly new.
I don't think.
Damn.
I mean, it's always been kind of an independent. Even when it was in Russia, right? It was kind of one of its little fiefdoms, but when it broke apart, right? It was part of the original Soviet Union, so hence the reason. But it's going to be interesting to see. I bring that up because, we talk about the power of businesses. It's all like what's Twitter doing, what's all the social media, but it also is things like Apple and Starbucks, and it's
pulling
like
out, right?
it like really it'll be interesting to see if there is repercussions within the society of Russia when they no longer have access to all of these mainstream things that everybody just is so used to, right? And Starbucks is one of them. I mean, if Starbucks just disappeared overnight, most people would be like, "What just happened?" Right?
Yeah.
Sure, we'd all survive. We'd all get over it. It would suck for like a week, but at the end of the day, everybody would notice it. And so you wonder in Russia, like where, but the media is obviously far more controlled than it is here. But when people start going, why the hell Starbucks closed down? Yeah. Why is there no Apple stores in Russia anymore? Why is there no Nike, stores, no Adidas, no anything? I can't get my Yeezys in Russia anymore. Right? So I mean, like it'll be interesting to see if that kind of societal impact from businesses can kind of change the tone.
So they're trying to make their own.
Obviously, can't get it done.
Well, right, they're trying to make their own like ecosystem essentially, like where everything's made in house. Is that what's going on?
Well, I mean that's their only avenue, right? So I guess supposedly what'll end up happening is they'll get in bed with China. And, so Russia will trade currencies with China. China will trade goods, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, right, I mean, the world revolves around brands and societal kind of things, right? Yeah. So, I mean, you don't get your Hermes, you don't get your whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
that's extremely true because imagine the shopping center. Then you start seeing all the stores, like you said, going out. You would kind of, I
think it exposes or provides more visibility to the normal layman than politics ever could, right? I mean, these politicians can't screw a freaking light bulb in without spending $2.5 billion to do it, right? So I mean,
I feel like we haven't talked about it on here, but like, did you see the whole stuff with the abortions and everything?
Yeah.
That's crazy to me. Is that not like wild?
Which part of it? I mean,
like
I don't know which side. Which side are you falling off before I answer the question?
I think it's
because I mean,
but like without
careful what you say, because I mean,
yeah, sure, but like I just think that it is like wild that they're able to like go back on that like unable to.
All right, so let me see if how much time. So we're at 57 minutes, and you want to talk about abortion? Jesus Christ, you gotta be kidding me, right?
We gotta, paraphrase.
So, all right, let me just very quickly explain this whole row, the Supreme Court thing, right? So, the Supreme Court is not abolishing abortion, right? Abortion is not going to be abolished. Period. Right?
It's not.
So the Supreme Court is basically just saying that the federal government is not overarching over all 50 states, basically saying that abortion is legal or not legal. They're basically saying it's not a federal issue. It is a state level issue.
Oh,
so
okay.
each and every individual state will have the ability to make law with regards to abortion.
Okay.
So what that means is you are always going to be able to get an abortion in California. You're always going to be able to get an abortion in New York, and you're always going to be able to get an abortion in Illinois, right? Always,
Okay.
because they're liberal cities or states, right? That's not going to change, right? So if you want an abortion, you can get one.
So if you fly over there, there's no like background check. Like they're
No.
not going to be like you live in PA.
No, I mean, California's already pretty much come out and said that up until the minute of birth, they'll do an abortion for anybody under the sun. They don't care
till the minute of birth. Oh
until
my
the minute of birth, right?
Jesus
So places like, I guess potentially Texas, Florida, some of the southern states, North Dakota, whatever it might be, right? Some of those states will possibly make it illegal to get an abortion. Doesn't mean that you can't jump on a plane or you can't jump in a car and drive across states and get it done, right? So this is all horseshit. It's all freaking political spin. It's all
move.
one side trying to basically use it as a talking point to take it to the extreme as a talking point when that's not the reality, right? All the Supreme Court is going to decide is whether or not the legality of abortion should be a federal issue or it should be a state issue.
Thank you for
Period.
clarifying. Okay, because I did not know that.
So even if the Supreme Court says Roe versus Wade is overturned, it does not mean that if you want to get an abortion, you won't be able to find some place to get it. You may just have to work a little extra harder, more harder than it took to actually have the intercourse in the first place. But hey, go for it.
Yeah, no, most definitely.
Oh God, I don't know. It's 57 minutes, and you want to jump on that topic?
No, that was good, man.
Oh, all right.
No,
So, that's
so you
it.
clarified
I won't
it, though.
get too much into it.
We'll save it for next time.
Basically, you do the deed, man. Come on, get your shit together. Jesus Christ.
No, that was good. How long did that take you to explain that?
2.5 minutes.
Dude, holy shit. Okay, well,
I should be a political pundit
you should be the mayor.
on.
Would you ever go for like any political role or no?
I mean, so I would love to just go off right now about all of the stuff we talk about, right? I mean, all of it. But the reality is, right, cancel culture is a real thing. And though no one listens to this podcast, who knows? Maybe one of my coworkers eventually stumbles upon it and then hears me just mouthing off about how I don't believe in abortion, and the next thing you know, it's like, oh, this guy's a freaking lunatic, like you said, right? So I have a job and I have a life that I have to unfortunately live. But the second I retire, oh man, all shit's gonna be like, God.
Is it gonna be crazy?
Could be.
All right. Well,
Maybe
that's good.
or people start listening to the damn thing, and we actually can get paid advertisers, and this becomes a career. Oh man, I'd Joe Rogan this bad boy up. I mean, seriously, you have to. I mean, this has been.
I would have to leave.
28 episodes of me just kind of trying to toe the line. I mean, that's the way it is.
Yeah, it's
to.
because Joe's coming off his career and I'm going into my career, so it's like I'm what's it called? Getting the baton almost. You know what I mean?
So, but here's the thing. I mean, honestly, I know we're kind of going long on this one, and it is. It's been a 2-week. This makes up for the 20 minutes I did, but. So, and no one will get this far into the podcast, unfortunately, to hear it. So that's the other saving grace is I can kind of vent right now because it's an hour in. No one's going to be here for this. Not even my wife's going to listen to this far in. So this is white noise.
Right, I listen to it when I'm working. I listen to so many podcasts.
So, but I mean, so this is what's really frustrating is we're having this conversation about how we really can't say this because we're starting our career or, I'm still in a career. And the reality is that what am I saying, right? I'm picking a side, right? Is it so wrong to pick a side? No. It's not like I'm sitting there going, we should legalize murder. I mean, seriously, it's like you take a side one way or the other. And, oh, God, I just...
Well, because what you're saying basically is...
And if I disagree with you, what like you said, then you get on your fake accounts and
I get on my burner,
spam me on my Facebook and tell me that I'm a Nazi lover or some shit. I mean, it's just like, come on.
No, so what you're saying is there a way to separate the two? Because at the end of the day,
Separate what?
separate like your
Opinions
in your work life, because like they don't intertwine with each other.
You should be able to,
You're
but
right.
not in this day and age. You can't, right? I mean, that's
Because look at Kanye, for example, right? We both know Kanye, right? He's a songwriter, musician, but then political figure, influence, everything else on this.
yeah, but the difference is, I mean, he's got billions of dollars. He doesn't give a crap.
Right. But
That's, I mean,
but
like,
he has an influence. So when he picked, I'm standing with Trump, he's sacrificing not monetary value, but influence value of, all right, well, because I'm standing Trump.
He's kind of, so I mean,
that
Kanye.
could be clipped. That could be clipped. That was out of context if somebody.
Clips
that.
Kanye is kind of he's gotten to the point where no matter what his opinion is, unless it's just so out there, like I believe in aliens or something like that, right?
He believes in aliens.
I know. That was probably not a good analogy, but what I'm saying is he's like Yeezy shoes and Yee music and stuff like that has become sort of a lexicon in the society, right? That it doesn't at this point, it doesn't really even matter what Kanye says at all, right?
Okay.
No, it's not going to change your mind that I love the shoes, or you know what I mean.
I get that.
Where if he was just starting, like if this was 2000 and when did he start Yeezy, right? So if this was 2010 or 2012 or whatever, and he started to act like a complete freaking lunatic, and he started to go with all the religious music and stuff like that, he would have been cut off at the knees and never even gotten to the point where he's at now. He's gotten to the point where he's got, call it street cred, call it wealth, call it FU money. I mean, whatever you want to call it, right? He's got that now, and it doesn't, he can say whatever the hell he wants.
I think people can.
And there's a lot of people that can do that, right? I mean,
I think people can get along regardless. I think a lot of people just look for something to pick at other people for, and religion, politics, and that stuff is just like a low-hanging fruit for that. So it's like, all right,
going full circle, it goes back to your thing about right now, there's no repercussions for you to get on a fake account and just say whatever the hell you want, right? As soon as like I can mouth off about politics all day long, and until there's a point where someone who disagrees with me gets on that microphone and has a conversation with me, instead of going on the Twitter or Facebook and saying you suck, you're whatever, right? Until they get on this thing and look at me in the eye and say, let's have a conversation about it, this place, it's never going to change.
Yeah.
That's kind of the nice thing about my generation versus yours, right? We talk about, that was one of the other things on the 20-minute podcast is I said we originally wanted to do this to talk about generational differences between your generation and mine. And I don't know if we really did that anymore, or do that anymore, right? But this is kind of a classic example, right? There was no social media. There were no fake accounts, right?
Back in my day, we walked to school in snow.
Well, but if I had an issue, right?
Right. You would talk to somebody.
I would have to, even to do it behind someone's back, I'd have to actually talk to someone who, then becomes a real person. It is a much different world, and social media is probably the root of all evil. It really is.
I saw a thing I wanted to send to you real quick. It was a thing like if a 1980s bully gets teleported into 2022, right? and it was like, dude, I'm about to go on like for the talent show. I'm gonna go on stage with a dress and shoes and everything like that. And the guy from 2022 is like, yes, go slay and all that stuff. He's like, what the hell are you talking about?
Oh, that is classic. Seriously. Oh, that is just freaking priceless.
So there was
that's actually a good movie. That seems like a David Spade or a movie,
like an Adam Sandler movie or something like that. Yeah, no,
but you couldn't even pull that off anymore. That would be a funny movie, right? But you can't even pull that off anymore.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just funny because
that's funny though.
Because of how quickly things change, Like we talked. We could just end it there.
We should. We're an hour and 10 in, and so we went from the shortest episode to the longest episode, and like I said, thank God no one will listen to that last 15 minutes of me just going off.
Oh no, I'm telling people to listen to the end. Oh no, you're not getting off the hook, my friend.
I don't care. So anyway, lots to talk about, but we'll close out this one. What was this, 28 or 29? I can't remember. 29.
Because I'm bitter it was not 28.
Well, it's good to have you back.
Appreciate.
You're starting the real world in June, a couple weeks.
Yes. I'm
awesome.
excited. I gotta. Unfortunately, the tests don't stop. I have to take a test here soon, but instead of
Test
paying,
for school?
no, for work, I have to get licenses.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
because you're going into
Instead
the
of
financial
getting, instead of paying for school, I get paid to do school, which is nice.
so they're paying you to.
15,
wait a second.
$1,500.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you have to, but you're going into marketing, right? Or are you going into marketing? Or are you going into something else?
It's so this role, it's more like finance.
So you have to get.
I have to get licensed in finance first.
License and financing. So
And then I get transferred because it's a finance corporation. I have to be on up to speed of what's going on, right?
All the roles and
then
especially with insider trading and stuff like that. So you can't tell me when you.
No. I'll be we're good. I'll get you all the best.
Yeah, you
the best of the best.
You hook me up, bro. Come on.
Hey, the best.
Behind the
The
scenes,
best
yeah.
the IRAs.
So look. We could. So maybe we break this into two podcasts.
Who's judging? Like we could keep going.
So, but here's the question then. So you just spent 4 years in marketing and you're going into a financial sales role.
So the finance
What
thing.
a waste.
No, so listen, right? So the finance thing is because it's a finance company.
Yes,
but,
I understand that.
So once I get through this first year, just like everything, even in college, you kind of have to get through those first years of bullshit. They said that it's not a lateral or like what I don't even know what the hell the words are, but it's you could move around a lot. So I could do a lot of horizontal progress and a lot of vertical progress.
Right. Parallel, vertical.
Yeah. So I could, like, after my first year and my foot's in the door, a lot of people switch to marketing from this spot. It's just this is the entry point.
Right. Okay. Yeah,
So,
I get it.
there you
You
go.
got to start someplace and get a foundation. And
I'm trying to. Ideally, I would like to be a what do they call that? A marketing
Stockbroker? So
marketing director there because they get paid good money. Yeah. So
Cool. All right, well, let's get the hell out.
Yeah, sweet.
We'll talk about your job once you kind of settle into it, but it's good to hear.
Yeah.
Congrats on that again, and we'll catch you.
30.
I don't know. Maybe we'll record on Memorial Day with the family.
Yeah, we're coming over here, aren't we?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we can.
So-
We'll get we'll have another. We do that all the time. We do like a round table type.
Yeah,
deal.
we'll figure something
fun.
out. So okay, cool. We'll get back to the old school boxing and UFC talk with Mikey. We'll get we'll figure it out. All right, later, man. See you. Bye.
See you.
Yeah. Let me drop exclusive game from my exclusive mind. You be out here chasing fame, I stay steady on my grind. 0 diamonds, 0 chains, from my brain is where I shine. Hit you with them good lyrics, I ain't writing and I'm dying. And right now I'm alive, so check it. I reckon I shouldn't cuss on this record. I don't cuss on them often because I'm applying pressure. Grab that fire grind. 0 diamonds, 0 chains, from my brain is where I shine. Hit you with them good lyrics, I ain't writing and I'm dying. And right now I'm alive, so check it. I reckon I shouldn't cuss on this record. I don't cuss on them often because I'm applying pressure. Grab that fire from my dresser. EXM, who does it better? No, I won't let up. Gas pedal fully pressed, I do the dash to the checks. If it ain't assets, I'm never stressed. I keep it calm and collect. Most of y'all stuck in some debt, and you got bad credit. I learned my lesson, I was young and foolish, now I'm better. I kept my head up through the stormiest weather. Wipe my eyes and focused on where I'm headed. We call that constant progression. If we in Vegas and the option is betting on me, you know we cashing out to the teller. Now let me switch my endeavor, change up my whole approach. Let's have a toast to those who do the most. Achieving goals on the road to their dreams, on the path to the cream. Counting stacks with their team, living lavishly, but still actively aware that they can be a casualty, so they don't lack humility and they don't dabble with the greed. Yes, they focused on the plan ahead. They know impact will lead to bread, and the bread equals success and less threats. Got some things to accomplish. When someone hits my line, it's not about some nonsense. We making moves, always grinding, we popping. You know we not gonna stop, and never no option but time, and the perfect time is right now. Not caught up in tomorrow. I'm all about making a conscious decision while I'm living. Make a choice, then I'm committed to that vision. I pivot if necessary. It's scary when you get caught in a position that isn't hitting you down bad because your persistence in the wrong direction. Just learn your lesson, you gotta check it. Audit you and keep on getting better. That's the motive, that's the method. And I'm headed further than I ever thought I could make it. I wouldn't stop unless my pulse flat lines like the doctor lost his patience.